Hey, you're listening to Rising into Mindful Motherhood. I'm your host, Dr. Katie Wood. I'm a barefoot mama bear, pharmacist, integrative fertility health coach, and lover of all things nature and animals. I'm on a mission to have intentional conversations about the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to fertility, pregnancy, postpartum, and beyond. My mindful guest and I will be talking about struggles, wins, natural wellness, and how we grow and transform as we enter motherhood. My background in healthcare has shown me how broken our medical system is. My own struggles to become pregnant has shown the lack of support for mamas to be, the lack of guidance for women to have a nourishing and vibrant pregnancy, the isolation, mom guilt, and all the things we hold after bringing baby earthside. I want this platform to be a place where women can feel connected, safe, and supported to share and hear their stories. A place to use our voice to discuss and advocate about what we need and deserve as mothers. So let's dive in, shall we? So hello and welcome to Rising into Mindful Motherhood. I'm super excited for our conversation today. I'll be chatting with Sarah, who is a mother of two with one on the way and a beautiful daughter in heaven. She'll be sharing today about her experience with PCOS, infertility, and loss. So welcome, Sarah. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me on and, giving me a space to share my story.
Yes, of course. So let's just jump right in. How about you tell us about your fertility journey?
Okay, so I kind of got diagnosed with PCOS when I was young. I was 16. And at the time, they basically just said, here's some birth control. That's it. Just go on birth control. Not really any information about what it is, what it would mean for me in the future or anything like that. So when we started trying to get pregnant and I came off birth control, obviously I was having issues due to the PCOS and not having regular cycles.
Mm-hmm.
So we tried for maybe I think it was a little less than a year. And I was referred to see a fertility specialist. And I also had started acupuncture at the same time. And acupuncture was amazing. It actually really helped regulate my cycles. And it was just it did way more than I thought it could do. And we did a failed round of treatment. And then I actually got pregnant the cycle after on my own with my son. And then after I had him, that was followed by 2 early losses. And, we kind of did treatment cycles here or there, which was basically taking letrozole. And then I had to do the injections of the follicle stimulating hormone and then a trigger shot. And so we did some failed ones of those. And then one of those actually worked, but that ended in a miscarriage. And then I got pregnant after a treatment cycle with my daughter, Jasmine. She ended up being stillborn at 32 weeks. And she was diagnosed with a congenital diaphragmatic hernia, which means that she had her diaphragm didn't fully form. There was a hole in her diaphragm. So it allowed all the organs, like her stomach and liver and things like that, to move up into her chest cavity, which then compresses the lungs so they don't fully form. And we found that out at 13 weeks pregnant with her. And then later found out that she also had mosaic trisomy 15. And so it was both of those actually are really rare conditions. And then after that, we did fertility treatment again, which was the letrozole and the follicle stimulating hormone again. This was about 6 months after our loss. And we're able to get pregnant with our daughter, our second daughter. And we had her. And now I got pregnant naturally on my own with this baby. And I am currently 28 weeks pregnant with my pot of gold baby.
Oh, wow. That is that sounds like a roller coaster ride. So just to put it in perspective for everyone, what is the time span from when you first started trying to really now, I guess?
So we started trying, we got married in 2011, and we started trying with the fertility specialist in 2012 or 2013. I had my son in 2014. Then that was followed by my 2 losses. And then Jasmine was born in 2018, my rainbow daughter in 2019. And now this baby will be in 2023. So almost, is that almost 10 years?
Yeah, like 12.
I can't do math. Like,
Because
however many
it'll be
years that is.
2023. Yeah, it all right when I think the pandemic really chopped off a couple years. So
It really did. That felt like 10 years, like all on its own.
yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I just have to, tell you I'm so sorry that you've had to go through all of that. That's just so heartbreak, like so many heartbreaks. So what are some things that you've been able to do to kind of cope with, you haven't given up, clearly. You've stuck with it, but it's hard, you have to allow yourself to heal, physically, mentally, and emotionally. So how have you been able to cope with that?
It's been hard because, I always thought, I always feel like it's unfair that anyone ever has to deal with infertility or loss. But I feel like
Hmm.
it's like more unfair that when people have to deal with both. And I
Yeah.
was like, I thought that the infertility would be, and that, I thought, okay, maybe getting pregnant is a problem, but once I get pregnant, like it'll be okay. So, that was, like you said, that was very challenging. I was fortunate to have really supportive family and friends. And after our losses, especially after losing Jasmine, I turned to other people in the loss community, and it's been amazing. It's
Hmm.
full of people who understand exactly how you feel and
Yeah,
don't judge you for it. And, they've been through it too. So I would say that that is really what helped me get through, is having them to turn to. And then I also decided that I wanted to help other people who had gone through loss. So I found that helping other people get through it also helped me get through it.
absolutely. Yeah, having that community to connect and feel seen and heard, and then also offer support too. That's a really beautiful way to shift such an otherwise devastating, experiences that you've had. Miscarriage alone is painful, but to go through what you had to go through with Jasmine is just unimaginable. I remember my sister, her friend had a stillbirth, and I was younger. This was a while ago, but just trying to wrap my head around like, how could something like that even happen?
It's one
Yeah,
of those things that you always feel like happens to other people. You
yeah.
don't think that it's going to happen to you. And
Hmm.
even when we knew what her diagnosis was and knew that, basically the mosaic trisomy 15 is such a extremely rare thing to happen that the doctors couldn't even really tell me how exactly it would affect her. Because
Okay,
if you're
well,
not familiar with mosaic trisomy, like when you hear of like trisomy 18 or 21, which is like the Down syndrome and things like that, it means that's a full trisomy where every cell in the body has that extra DNA in it. But the mosaic trisomy means not all the cells do, but some of them do. And they don't know like how many or like where those cells are. So basically it could just affect them in so many different ways that doctors didn't really know what that meant.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Wow.
even knowing knowing that diagnosis, I still wanted to carry her. I still had faith that she would make it. I didn't think we would end up losing her like that.
Yeah. I bet. Yeah, you held on to hope for her that it would turn out okay. Well, I know that she's watching over you and your family.
I definitely think she is. I think of her every time I see a rainbow or a butterfly or a cardinal, things, I just think that's her letting me know that she's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think she, watched over her sister. Her sister was safely born. And now I
Mm-hmm.
think she's watching over her other sister, who will be here in just 3 months.
Yeah. So by that point, when you were pregnant with Jasmine, you had your son already.
Yes.
So
And
how old was he at that point?
he was 3.
Okay.
So he would have been, he was 3 at the time and then turned 4 a couple of months after. So he was almost 4.
And how was that for you, having to show up as a parent still, while going through such a tragic loss?
It was hard. After a loss like that, the grief can become very consuming.
Yeah.
And, I knew that he needed me, but sometimes it was really hard to be fully present.
Mm-hmm.
But I just did my best to make sure he, got what he needed and did my grieving after he went to bed. you
Yeah.
know,
Wow. Yeah, just probably taking it day by day.
Pretty much. And, he was so young still that he just didn't really fully understand what had happened.
Mm-hmm.
We tried explaining it to him in, terms that he could understand. We told him we didn't choose to bring him to the hospital after she was born. Sometimes I regret that, but, we make the best decisions we can at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows about her now. He talks about her now. He knows he has a sister that's in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, definitely at the time he was not understanding.
Yeah. Yeah. And then let's see, how long did you allow yourself to kind of heal and grieve before you decided you would try again?
You know, we knew pretty quickly that we wanted to try again. And, we both felt kind of guilty for feeling it so quickly. But, we talked about it and we knew that, we weren't trying to replace her, but that we just, we had to leave the hospital like empty handed. And, we wanted another baby to, fill that gap that we had to come home with. And we since I had a stillbirth, I gave birth. I had to go through the postpartum period.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to wait at least 6 months. And so at 6 months, we talked about it and decided we were going to try. And we're fortunate that that treatment worked that time. But it's really hard deciding, that you want to try again, because like I said, you don't want to replace them.
Mm-hmm.
But you are longing for what you should have. You should have a baby, and you don't. It's so complicated.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. And then also, making sure that your body had time to heal as well. Um,
And that
after
was one of the
the
most
pregnancy.
frustrating parts, actually,
Mm-hmm.
is just I was angry and I was mad at my body, and I didn't, I was like, I had to deal with the milk coming in. I had to deal with, the stretch marks I had gained, the weight I had gained, and just all the postpartum stuff that a normal person goes through, except I didn't have a baby to make it better.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I had a hard time looking in the mirror for a while, because it was just like a constant reminder of what I had lost.
Yeah, I can only imagine. So what, I mean, I know you talked about you had a supportive family and community, but what else did you do to help get you through that? Did you journal, meditate, pray, prayer? What what was something that really helped kind of pull you out of that, or at least keep you afloat while you were dealing with that postpartum um, phase? Today's episode of Rising into Mindful Motherhood is proudly sponsored by the Confident Conception Membership. Are you or someone you know on what feels like a never-ending journey to motherhood, facing an uphill battle of fertility challenges? I'm Dr. Katie, your podcast host, pharmacist, and integrative fertility coach with over a decade of experience. I've been where you are, and I understand the roller coaster of emotions and heartache. That's why I've created the Confident Conception Membership, a program designed to help you address the real reasons behind fertility challenges. Like my client Elizabeth, who struggled with fertility for 9 years, having tried and failed other programs. She was in disbelief when just a couple of months into using my Confident Conception method, she finally got her first positive pregnancy test and welcomed her healthy baby boy this year. Using the Confident Conception method, we combine traditional medicine and energy healing to unlock your innate and abundant fertility potential. This isn't just about putting a Band-Aid on to cover up the physical symptom. It's about healing the energetic and physical root causes. As a member, you'll receive personalized guidance, bi-weekly live coaching calls, and become a part of a supportive community of like-minded women who truly understand what you're going through. We offer flexible payment options, plus our annual members receive exclusive savings and bonuses to accelerate their path to pregnancy. Don't let another month of frustration and overwhelm pass you by. As a special offer to our listeners, you can use the promo code PODCAST10 to receive 10% off the lifetime of your membership. Secure your spot now and expedite your journey to motherhood today by visiting www.yourempoweredfertility.com/membership to learn more and enroll. Together, we'll pave the way to your confident conception for a future filled with joy, unconditional love, and the pitter-patter of tiny feet. The link is in the show notes. Sign up today and your future self will thank you.
I think the biggest thing for me was writing.
Writing, okay.
I actually started a blog at the time, and I just wrote everything out that I was feeling and I shared it. And I don't know how many people were actually reading it, but I did get, some supportive comments. And I found that just writing it all out and sharing it just helped get it all out there.
Mm-hmm.
And getting it out there, other people reached out to me like, oh, I've had a loss too. And it helped me connect with other people who had been through it too.
Yeah, that's such a powerful form of expression, and really releasing your emotions is getting it out on paper. So that's beautiful. Do you still write today?
I do. I've kind of changed what I write about now. I write about a lot of pregnancy loss stuff now. But I actually started, so for my maternity pictures with my rainbow daughter, I had a rainbow colored skirt that I wore.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided after she was born that I wanted to send it out to other lost moms. So they would take pictures with the skirt and then they write up their story, and then like the stories are shared. So I share a lot of those on my blog now, and I've had 190 stories that I've shared so far of people that have all worn the skirt and shared their lost story. And I found that it's really helped to build that community and to connect with all the other lost moms.
Wow, that's beautiful. Yeah, that's really like making a ripple effect into the community, and I think allowing other moms to know that it's safe to share and safe to talk about this topic, because it's not talked about enough. And I love that you bring so much of it to light. I mean, that takes a lot of courage to do that, especially to show up so like real and raw and just wearing your emotions on your sleeve.
It's definitely hard at times. And I know, I've told my story a lot of times now, but I still get emotional telling it. And I know that, some of these women that have participated, that for some, it's their first time that they're ever really telling their story. And some have told it before, some have never told it, some have told it, but not in great detail. So, it's just various stages of grief that all the women are in. And so many of them have said that it was a very emotionally hard process, but that it was also incredibly healing at the same time. And so, that's what keeps me going with it, because I know that I'm 4 years out from losing her, and, grief doesn't go away. It's always there. It isn't like it was at the beginning. It's not like every day is a sitting at home crying day, but, the grief is still there. And I just think it's good to help other people get through their grief too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, there's so much stigma around it and shame as well. I mean, just kind of like with infertility, even for myself, when I was struggling to get pregnant, I didn't even share it with my family. I kind of just kept it to myself because I just felt like, something was broken inside of me, and that sometimes a sense of shame can come up with that, but that's not, our bodies are not broken. So,
Right. I went
yeah.
through that too. When go through the infertility, it's just like, why can't my body just do what it's supposed to do?
Hmm.
Like the one thing that it's supposed to do as a woman, and you can't do it, it's very
Yeah.
frustrating.
Yeah. And in my community, I have a private Facebook group where I support women trying to get pregnant. And a lot of them have had miscarriages, some of them multiple miscarriages. So, they're almost afraid to get pregnant again, even though they want to get pregnant. And then when they do get pregnant, they're frightened that it's going to happen again. So how have you dealt with that in the past, and even currently with the pregnancy you have right now?
Yeah, it's pregnancy after loss is a whole different thing. Loss, it takes so much from you, and it's 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 hard to put into words almost, but it takes a lot of the joy of the pregnancy away from you. You can't just, oh, like I saw a heartbeat, like, okay, that's exciting, but what if at the next appointment I don't? Or, it's like you're always waiting for the bad news to come at any moment at the next appointment, or, whenever. And it's really hard. And I just had to take it one day at a time. And I had to tell myself, okay, right now, you have no reason to believe that there is anything wrong. Just, try to get through it. And then once I started feeling both of the kids with both pregnancies, once I started feeling them move more, it's a little bit more reassuring because you can feel them moving and they're there. But it's definitely hard. And it's kind of hard to believe that you're actually going to end up bringing a baby home. Like with this pregnancy, even though I have 2 living children, I still haven't bought like some of the things I should buy for her, like her car seat or things like that. It's too scary to buy it. And I'm 3 months out. I have to do it at some point. She needs it, but it's still just hard to believe, even though I see her on the ultrasounds, even though I feel her moving, part of me doesn't believe that she'll actually be coming home.
That that must be really, really difficult to have to navigate and go through. You're right. It does steal that joy that you can have. And I've seen women say, like, I'm optimistically like pessimistic or something like that. Like one day you might feel really optimistic, and then the next day you could be ridden with just fear and anxiety. I know even for myself, just like, okay, it took me this long to get pregnant, and then it's just like, okay, worrying about anything that happened during the pregnancy and with birth. And then it dawned on me that, okay, well, even when I have this child, I'm going to be worried about them every second of every day. Like this, I think
Yes.
this worry is just always going to be a part of my life now. Um, so yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
As soon as I think I let out like the biggest sigh of relief when my rainbow daughter was born. I mean, I just cried because I was
I'm
like, oh my
sure.
gosh, like she's here. And then, like you said, the worry after that started of, oh my gosh, is she still breathing at night? Is she still, so I think the worry never stops as moms, it just changes.
Yes, it shifts and changes. And then once they're old enough to be out on their own, we'll be worried about different things.
Exactly.
So, how has your pregnancy been now? Do they keep a closer eye on you? Do they take extra ultrasounds or testing, or what does that look like?
I get a little bit extra. I see my OB the regular amount of times. And then I also asked if I could see an MFM again, which I saw with my rainbow daughter, which is a maternal fetal medicine specialist. So I was seeing them monthly, but after my 20-week ultrasound where everything looked normal, they said that I don't really need to come monthly, but that he would see me in 2 months, basically more for my reassurance. He says he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't see anything that would indicate a problem with the pregnancy or the baby or anything. And so I have actually that appointment on tomorrow, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking that after that one, they're probably going to dismiss me. And I don't like that. But it's both good and bad because it means they don't see anything wrong and don't need to see me. But
Mm-hmm.
for my peace of mind, I would rather get the extra monitoring. So we'll see
Yeah.
what they say, I guess.
Yeah. So maybe just voicing that, for my own stress levels and sanity, it might be maybe you can space out your check-ins, but not completely like, okay, we'll see
That's
you
what
when
I'm
you're ready to
hoping.
give birth.
Yeah, with my rainbow daughter, I saw the MFM too, and I think it was about this point, or maybe about 30 weeks, they dismissed me because I wasn't having any issues. So the monitoring with them stopped about the same time when I hit third trimester. So
Hmm.
like I said, it's good, that they don't foresee a problem. And I think with my situation, it wasn't anything that my body did to cause the loss. Like I didn't go into premature labor or have an incompetent cervix or anything like that. It was based solely on a rare fluke chromosomal issue she had.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think that because of the circumstances of the loss, they don't, and since they don't see any of those signs in this baby, that they don't feel the need to see me anymore.
Hmm. Yeah. And this is, it's hard to accept, but sometimes it makes you wonder, you know, did you go through that for a reason? Did that help your path in life? You know?
I've wondered that. I mean, I've done a lot of things because of my loss
Yeah.
and a lot of things to help other people. And I've had that thought cross my mind. You hate when people say everything happens for a reason, but
Right.
sometimes you still think it like, okay, what if there actually was a reason, even though the reason sucks, you know?
Hmm.
I'd rather have my daughter, but I'm really proud of the stuff that I've done in her honor.
Absolutely. And she's proud of you. I'm reading a book called Spiritual Fertility, and I'm probably not going to say it exactly how she said it in the book, but she touches upon how some babies are just so pure that they cannot manifest in this world. I'll have to try and find that little excerpt and send it to you, but it's kind of a really beautiful way of looking at it, you know?
It is. Yeah, that's definitely a very beautiful way to think of her.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know you have a website, journeyforjasmine.com. Could you
Yes.
tell me me and the listeners, what your website is about, what types of maybe resources or support that they could find on there?
Sure. So like I said earlier, I have all of the rainbow skirt stories on there,
Oh,
and
wow.
I have other pregnancy loss stuff, like books you can read about loss, songs that were written about loss, ways you can honor your loss, just various things related to pregnancy loss in general. And then I have some stuff about infertility and pregnancy in general, getting pregnant again after a loss, all those things that are related to loss. But yeah, I have all 190 stories on there, and it's, some of them have been through infertility. They've all been through different kinds of loss. So chances are that, people will find somebody who has been through something similar to what they have. Maybe not exactly the same, but similar.
Right. Yeah, we all have our own unique stories. None are alike, that's for sure.
Yes.
So is there anything that you want to leave the listeners with? Any advice, words of encouragement, or anything that you want to touch upon towards the end of this?
I think the most important thing is to know that it's okay to grieve your loss, and you can grieve in however you need to grieve, in whatever way you need to grieve. And it doesn't matter if you were 4 weeks along or 40 weeks along, or if your baby had already been born, that your loss still matters and your baby still matters. And, you have a right to grieve that. So many people are just told, oh, you weren't far enough along, it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't a real baby, or, you know, whatever things people say that are completely insensitive. And I don't want people to think that just because you weren't far along, that you're not allowed to have grief or to feel sad about your loss, because your loss matters and your baby matters and your story matters.
Absolutely. And that's something I see come up a lot when people have chemical pregnancies. You
Yes, I
know,
had one of those.
yeah, or they feel or they've been told by insensitive people that that's not even a true pregnancy, but it is, and it's totally valid and you should grieve, especially if you have been trying and you see those two pink lines or the positive tests, like the intention was there, the love was there. So I think that those are wonderful words to end with. Thank you so much for sharing your courageous and resilient story with us today, Sarah. I'm so happy to have had you on.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed talking with you and, getting a chance to share it all. I hope it helps somebody listening.
I'm sure it will.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Rising into Mindful Motherhood podcast. If this episode resonated with you or gave you an aha moment, stop what you're doing right now and write a review. This simple act of kindness helps me get this podcast out to connect with as many women as I possibly can. I also have a special offer. If you send me a screenshot of your review, I will take $250 off one of my premium coaching containers. Let me know what resonated with you the most and why. So connect with me in my free Facebook community or tag me on Instagram. You'll find both listed below. Thanks again from the bottom of my heart for tuning in to this episode, and I'll see you next time.